welcome to another episode of our mini podcast, I Built a Company That Makes a Difference by B1, where we talk to founders of sustainable businesses to get their quick takes on how and why they started their companies and some lessons learned along the way. Today, we're talking to Oliver Sindlev, the co-founder and vice president of Dr. Smood, described as the world's most ambitious organic food company. In addition to operating more than 8 organic cafes in Miami and New York City, Dr. Smood develops and offers in-cafe and online high-quality, nutrient-rich foods, from pastas and sauces to bars and snacks, supplements and drinks, and many other foods. Oliver, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. So, Dr. Smood has developed a devoted following of customers and online fans. The company's mission and approach to creating really good, it's simply stated, good organic food for the mind and body seems to really resonate with folks. So I'm super excited to get into this conversation, particularly around operations and marketing. So let's jump in. First off, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and about Dr. Smood?
Sure. Happy to. So I'm originally from Denmark, Copenhagen. I haven't lived there, unfortunately, for the last 12 years. I moved when I was around 20 years old to London and did my studies there in global business management and marketing strategy. And after my studies were done, I moved to Miami to start this new venture with my father, actually, and a few other people from Europe. We started the whole concept, or the idea actually came to mind around 2013. In Denmark, there was a big juice culture. There was a big health trend. So we noticed that people were drawn more and more to like the healthier versions, the better for you versions of food. But the thing is, there was like, unfortunately, with a lot of the big brands operating at a time, they were compromising a lot on the sourcing of ingredients. There was not a lot of nutrition. Actually, people were buying into things blindly, whatever they were saying. So like we felt there was a big opportunity here to do things right, both for human health, but also for planetary health. The good thing is that people are becoming more and more aware about, the planetary health part, the sourcing of ingredients, like that. The following the right practices is crucial for the more you get more nutrition, the better farming and the better the ingredients are grown. So basically what we wanted to do with Dr. Smood is never compromise on that, because end of the day, like for us to function properly and to really improve our health and well-being, it's all about nutrition, it's all about food. And that's also where like the whole name of our company, Dr. Smood, came into play. Like doctor was like a kind of a funny take on the Hippocrates old quote saying, let food be your medicine. And then Smood is the contraction of smart and food. So we wanted to kind of deliver something that was put together in a smart form and done the right way. And then we wanted to be kind of, not saying that we wanted to be a doctor guiding you and recommending you, but like still giving you a good sense of how you could treat your body the best way possible.
Okay. That's really clever. Smart food. I did not realize that. It is clever. So why Miami?
So when we were looking at the US. My father had at the time just taken his jewelry company public, and he was slowly selling off his shares, and he wanted to start something new. And that's where we started, conceptualizing Dr. Smood. But he had a lot of experience with the American market. Pandora, which was the name of his jewelry company, was, US was one of their bigger markets. So yeah, he was very familiar with the place here. But for a health company like ours, which we were trying to introduce to the public, we were looking at 3 main markets that we believed had, the most awareness of food and a bigger attraction, more traffic to retailers. So Miami, New York, and LA was what kind of stood out to us the most based on our research. But the entry into each market, we believe that Miami was the easier or cheaper version, because of course, as many people know, New York, very expensive, a lot of competition, and the same goes for LA. So Miami was like a natural choice for us.
Okay, awesome. All right. So, and Dr. Smood, now in terms of your cafes. You're in New York and Miami.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay,
So
cool.
we started in Miami, opened the first location after 2 years in development, conceptualizing everything, getting ready. We opened the first cafe in Miami in Wynwood in 2015, and then I think 1 month after, opened the second location in South Miami, and we kind of spent the following months getting proof of concept, proof of business. Did a lot of focus groups, a lot of customer reviews and testimonials to kind of see like what we had created here and what we'd introduced. If it was well received, right? And thank God it was. People really liked what we did. It was something new and refreshing, because of course people were not like doing a healthy juice bar or healthy sandwiches and salads and all that was nothing new to anyone. But like what we felt was new and what we kind of made a difference was the fact that we created some very cool, timeless, chic spaces, like, you know, to kind of elevate the experience a little bit. And then, of course, keep on educating and guiding people to the healthier choices. And how we actually kicked off the brand in the beginning was creating this 6 color code mood system where people could kind of so each product that we were offering had a color code to it, and each color would represent a certain mood. And a mood could, for example, be immunity. It could be detox. It could be power for protein, you know, and it could be general health or beauty. So a lot of people, they of course know, okay, that there's a few ingredients out there or many ingredients out there that are good for me, but what does it actually do for me? So that's what we wanted to educate people on, and we did that by color coding each product, and people really really love that, you know. So actually now that was also meant to have an impact on people's or our customers shopping behavior. So like we would ask people when they walked in, what kind of mood are you in today? And people would say, okay, I just came from a workout. Okay, then you should follow the orange dots because that's full of protein. Or I'm feeling a little bit under the weather, then follow the immunity, yellow dot. That's going to boost your immunity. So that was something that we that was really well received, and kind of how we differentiated ourselves from the rest of the health shops, so-called health shops.
Nice. Okay. So you guys, the concept initially from the start was cafes. That's not something that you developed later. That was the initial concept, cafes and e-commerce, or was it just initially cafes?
Dr. Smood was always believed to be more than just a brick and mortar, but we've believed that it was the best way for us to introduce the brand by inviting people into our physical spaces, having our staff educate them on the product and, you know, our vision and mission. So, like, brick and mortar was definitely our first choice of the introduction, but we always knew that it was meant to be more. We wanted to create a platform in the end because we strongly believed that we had a great brand on our hands.
Awesome. Okay, that makes sense. And what were the products? You guys, you have a ton of products now that you develop and are available. What products did you start with, or what type of product? And how did you get to like the initial menu?
So for the first stores opening back in 2015, between 2015 and 17, yeah, the product was basically, it was a wide range, like you said, everything from performance sandwiches done with ancient grain breads that stabilizes your blood sugar and with organic ingredients, of course, only. And then we had a cold pressed juice program, everything done raw and it by ourselves. By the way, we have a commissary kitchen model because we wanted to make sure that we were completely in control of all processes. Because, like, you know, getting things from distributors or other co-packers, like, you know, not that we don't trust anyone other than ourselves, but like we wanted to stay as close as possible. So we had the commissary kitchens every day prepare a lot of, you know, grab and go products for us, and it was a wide range from, you know, breakfast products to snacks, overnight oats to dehydrated chips, plant-based turkeys, like all these things. And then they will send the fresh ingredients out to our stores so they could assemble and, you know, create the live made products, as we call them, in behind the line, you know. But yeah, so we had sandwiches, juices, snacks, breakfast. We were very much a breakfast lunch spot. We usually always stayed open between 8 in the morning, sometimes 7 in the morning, and then closed around like 5, 6 ish. So we're never a dinner spot. which is something I'll get into a little bit later because that's what we're now implementing and moving into.
Ah, very cool. Okay. Well, in that case, can you talk to us about the first 6 months? So when you were planning and conceptualizing and getting things ready, you knew from the gate that you wanted to have a physical space for customers to come and interact with your products, give you feedback. You could direct them. It would instruct educational content, etc. So from the moment that you opened your first store, what were those first 6 months like? How big was your team? What were the challenges that you, what are the fun things that you found, and what are the the nightmarish things that you found? What did this first 6 months look like?
I think so. None of us actually came from the food industry. Like our current CEO, he was a lawyer at trade, and my father was from the jewelry industry. I was fresh out of university, just with global business and marketing strategy background, right? No, none of us had actually dealt with the food industry before, so of course we had to go out and attract some talent and get as many resources on board that had the experience under their belts. But so finding the right people is always in any industry, of course, a challenge. But I think in terms of our business, like that was kind of trying to find our foothold, getting optimizing operations right off the gate. Like for example, we opened the first location during Art Basel in 2015. Art Basel is a crazy time in the Miami area. Like you have a lot of people flying in from all over the world, and we were insanely busy, and it was basically all hands on deck. And then that kind of gave us like a sense of what this could be. But I have to say also, like when we went into this venture, like we knew that there was a big investment coming in, and we wanted to scale this fast. So we had a really big team, so we pushed the pedal to the metal very fast. So we basically, yeah, like I said, those first 6 to 8 months was just getting proof of concept and proof of business to some extent. But then we were just like already looking at the next locations, the next location, the next location, because part of our strategy in the beginning was to get to a critical mass, because we had a commissary kitchen model, which is also requiring a certain number of locations. But also we wanted to get market share, a large footprint. We wanted to make a mark that's now Dr. Smood is here, and we're here to stay, and we're here to be your neighborhood cafe, right, where you can get your healthy stuff. So we had a pretty aggressive expansion plan. And but yeah, I think, again, to answer your question, the biggest challenges was just like finding our foothold when it comes to operations, getting the right people in, and then especially educating our staff so they could educate our customers.
Okay. So it sounds like you guys went out the gate very well prepared, but out the gate knowing that this is going to be, you're here to scale.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. And in that case, you and I talked a little bit before about the fun that has been COVID for brick and mortar businesses. Can you talk us through the whole journey operationally? Opening cafes, COVID, what happened then, how it's come full circle or adapted. Talk us through just operationally what it's been like in the last 10 years.
So yes, since we opened in 2015, the first location, and up until COVID, beginning of 2020, we actually reached 15 locations, and we had another 10 locations in the pipeline. We had already 2 signed, and then yeah, come March of 2020, quarantines hit, and restrictions hit, and that obviously was very, very challenging for any brick and mortar business. With all the uncertainties around, like when they were going to lift all the restrictions and the quarantines, and when actually the most scary part was like that we saw that people's buying behavior changed, like, and that's why, like, you saw the big boom of e-commerce business, direct to consumer business. Like people, they needed to still get their food and their products, but they had to be buying those online and shipped straight to their homes, right? So that was also when, like I said earlier, Dr. Smood was always meant to be a platform and so much more than brick and mortar. So that's where we said, okay, now it's our time to get into that game as well. But again, to circle back to the COVID challenges, like it was hard. Like we knew that we had to do something. We started, like, the first couple of months of COVID, immunity was a big thing. So we put together these detox packages where we shipped them to people's homes, full of immunity boosting juices and other superfoods. And that went well, but like again, it was not our core business like at that time, to send, especially not to send fresh produce or fresh products. It's expensive, it's heavy, and you need to have it refrigerated. Like it was a bit of a nightmare, but we felt like we had to do something, right, as a COVID response, and to help people still feel their best. But yeah, especially we had a lot of people in our cafes also leave us. We had like and when they lifted the quarantines, we had almost no traffic for months and months and months. And like, thank God we got some of those grants and checks from the government. Like, but of course they only help to some extent. So it was a very trying time. Very
So
trying.
the e-commerce arm of your business really kicked off as a response to COVID then.
It was. Again, we always knew it was coming, but we hadn't planned to do it at that time. But of course, like it was definitely, like, to answer your question, it was definitely born of the ashes of COVID. Yeah, because the whole notion of scalability for us back then was strictly opening rooftops, getting larger footprints, maybe opening new markets, and so it was all revolved around the brick and mortar business. So but e-commerce, that was our first response, and we've been really excited about getting into that ever since, and we're really pushing that very hard now, and
And how's it
getting a lot.
going? How's the
It's
traction
going really
been?
well. So just to give it a little bit more background, so we actually we sat down, the executive team and the board, like, okay, how can we use our relationship that we built over the last couple of years with farmers, suppliers, and like come up with a packaged goods line of products that, like our stores, are meant for everyday consumption. Because like basically, in a nutshell, what Dr. Smood is good at is looking at everyday staples out there that people are either consuming freshly or having in their pantries, and how can we make them the best version of it, the most nutritious version of it. So we were looking, okay, we have great relationship with farmers and growers in Italy. So let's see if we can work on a pasta line, do ancient grains only, one ingredient only, bronze cut, of course, certified organic. And we came up with an amazing line of both gluten-free pastas and other ancient grain pastas, and they're beautiful and super delicious and very nutritious. And then we had a two Michelin star chef at the time, that he had just moved back because of COVID to his hometown in Parma, Italy, and he has a lab there where he was then creating our sauces that would go with the pastas, right? So like having him do that for us was also fantastic, and like he's still doing it to this day. But then we wanted to look up. We didn't want to be an Italian restaurant that just offered like, because Dr. Smood is basically a world cuisine. We do everything from the best sandwiches, but we also have the best matcha from Japan. We have the best of everything, best of all worlds, right? So we wanted to do something more than just the pastas and the sauces. We wanted to get into performance as well. So we worked with the best biochemists and formulators to come up with a nutrition bar line and supplements. And that was actually the product that people, they bought into the fastest, because the whole shopping behavior around performance is a little bit more of a natural fit to e-commerce, whereas pastas and sauces and olive oils, like, that's typically something that people pick up when they do their grocery shopping. So there was a lot of education for us. We had to educate our customers quite a bit on like why they should buying it from our website and not just continue to buy it when they go to Whole Foods or Publix or wherever they shop. But yeah, the performance products was really, really well received, because people, they can easier get their head around the uniquenesses. And okay, if you're certified organic, okay, it must be a premium product. If you have great macros, like great protein, great fiber, it must be a great product. If you have clean ingredients, okay, now it's a fantastic product, right? And we were all those things. So we had great success out of the gates.
Oh, that's awesome. So I have two questions actually. One is you kind of answered that. How has your menu or the things that you produce changed as a result of COVID? So I think the pastas have come online since COVID, the sauces have come online, the bars have come online, the supplements have come online. Anything else that was developed on the back of COVID?
Yeah. So when it comes to our brick and mortar retail business, seeing the success and the scalability we could do on the e-commerce packaged goods, like we wanted to then look at our brick and mortar retail business and say, okay, how can we connect the two dots? Because one thing was that just selling the packaged goods in our locations as well, but how could we implement them in the menu? So, and also we were looking at the model, like, is this QSR model, which it actually is at the core, is that the right approach? Because now that we're no longer scaling it as hardcore and aggressively as we were before, like maybe now we stick to our current locations and we basically leverage them more. So by adding dinner, because we only had a breakfast and lunch before, adding dinner also because you are paying rent 24/7, right? And so how can we create an offering and a menu that is attractive all these three periods of the day? And how can we implement those products that we will eventually become the most famous for, right? The ones that we're selling online and soon to retail chains and B2B. So that is actually something that we started doing fairly recently. Like over the last 2 years, we worked on a new model. So going away from the QSR and going more to still not fast, but a casual, chic bistro type of model where you have table service and you don't necessarily just have to go and order by the POS counter and you have to go and sit down, wait, pick it up yourself, and then you can either dine in or leave, right? But now it's going to be all around having people sit down, take their time, get serviced at a table, and they can stay longer, and then we can present the product better, and we can also, most importantly, educate our consumers better, because that was one of the small hurdles or challenges that we saw with the old model, that we only had 10 seconds with the customer with every visit. Like they were stress ordering when they walked into the store. They saw a big menu behind, on the wall, and like it was hard for us to get you know, our mission and vision across and all our uniquenesses, all our processes, like how we do things here. Like those 10 seconds, it was impossible to make, to fit that in. So now by changing the model to give them more time to study our menu or study our offering and have someone there present to walk them through the menu, like makes so much sense across the board. So that's kind of how now we see things. We know that we have the scalable products online that we will become famous for across the US, and which can also now help us determine the next market. Because now let's see, California, for example, is a great market for us online, but we don't have a location there yet. But maybe we should, right? Because there's a lot of indicators that there's a big market interested in our product there.
Cool. Okay. So let's switch a little bit to your marketing. So you mentioned education, and that's one of the pillars from the beginning. You were talking about not only the quality of the products that you're developing, the distribution channels and how you get to your customers, but also the education piece. So let's switch a little bit to marketing, because your marketing has been pretty remarkable. You've got a big online following. What are all the touch points? How do you engage with customers to educate them, to entice them to consume some of that content? Or what are all of the things that you're doing to put education out there about food, nutrition, consumption habits, etc.?
Yeah, so Dr. Smood is covering a lot of different channels to make sure that we get our points across and we can educate as much as possible so people understand our uniquenesses. The thing is, brick and mortar is very different game compared to online. Like not very different, but like you have a different approach because luckily for your brick and mortar stores, they can be strategically placed in high foot traffic areas, right? And you can kind of create this community in a neighborhood, and you can send like direct mailers back home to people's houses. You can do geofencing ads around specific areas, even around your competitors if you want to if you want to steal your competitors' clients as well, by offering them incentives to come in. But then when it comes to your online business, like that is basically like, you don't get any traffic there unless you put something in front of people, right? So we're doing everything from, from of course paid social to email, SMS marketing. We have a pretty significant list there, that we actually could take from our first business and move over, and that has, email and SMS marketing is actually one of the best tools right now, especially for retention. Like one of our, like, the main KPIs at Dr. Smood is right now just customer acquisition and customer retention. And so we're really trying to nurture our customers and the people we have on our lists by, we call it like white glove service, like keep on checking in with them, like, giving recommendations. And because again, going back to the doctor roots that we have in our brand, that, we want to be there for people and give them tailored solutions so they can feel their best, right? So that comes across also when we do emails, to when we do advertising, when we do content, that we want to recommend something like, and we know that not one thing is not for everyone. Like, people are different, people need different things. They might be deficient in one thing and others something else, but there are of course like a general approach that will make sure that people are, living healthier and better. So, and we try to like build these relationships with customers. I mean, no, of course we can't do that with everyone, because otherwise we will need to have a million people on our teams, right? But that's a big approach. Like, we really try to nurture our relationships with our customers, and that's like one of the key things. And we've seen great retention. Like on our online business, we have 60% coming back month over month, which is quite significant, compared to the normal stats.
Yeah, great. That definitely answers my question. I mean, it's easier for e-commerce, but how do you measure customer retention in your brick and mortar stores?
So we do have a lot of tools that we use in our, first of all, like our POS systems can give us the data on how many visits people are having, but also we have camera systems that are kind of tracking the movement in the location, and everything is kind of connected, to Wi-Fi. So we can see, okay, this person that has been on our Wi-Fi before came in, actually spent X amount of hours, and we can then see in our POS system how much they spent. So like it gives us a sense of their behavior, and that is super valuable for marketeer, like any marketeer, right? Yeah, if that answers your question.
That does answer my question. And who would you say, I mean, having a marketing background yourself, who would you say is a kind of a typical, if I could call it that, a typical profile of a Dr. Smood customer? Is there one? And if
Yeah,
so, how would you describe him or her?
there is definitely one. So one thing that Dr. Smoot has started to do, which has given us a lot of success and traction, is being more data driven. And like we do a lot of analysis of our current customers, the best ones, the ones that fall through the cracks, that doesn't like stops for some reason, shopping at either online or in our cafes. But the core customer for Dr. Smoot right now is female. So I would say 65% is female. The core customer, the core female shopping at Dr. Smoot is between 35 years old to 50. So like an older millennial, and usually has like above average income and has kids as well. Because so that's basically what everything is then tailored towards that person. So like everything from the branding to how we communicate, everything needs to be appealing and attractive to this core consumer.
Okay, nice. That's very interesting. Okay, if we can switch a little bit to future state. So you alluded to it a little bit and talked about future plans, but can we look the second half of 2023 and then beyond? What do your marketing, expansion, business development, what do those plans look like?
We came up with a third arm that we call the incubator, because Dr. Smoot has always been great at product. Everything we do is great for you, and we started getting a lot of appreciation from top athletes and big celebrities out there. They came knocking on our doors and they wanted to work with us. So This incubator actually started 2 years ago, where we created JVs with either top athletes or big celebrities, and we wanted to do new brands with new products that we would do in collaboration with these guys, and they would basically be the front-facing person representing the brand and product, and Dr. Smood would basically be the power engine in the background, ensuring that it was the most nutritious version of it out there, right? So that is like something that I'm very excited about. So that we created a flavor profile that is so addictive. Like I'm literally, we just did our first batch of it here a few weeks ago, and I'm having it every day, and it's fantastic. But like we wanted to again look at the current market out there. There's such a big booming happening in the energy drink market, but everything is again compromised. Like there's so many horrible ingredients used, and people are buying into the false advertising and marketing. And yeah, we want to change that. So now this is completely made with the best superfoods, botanicals, uh, all organic ingredients, and it actually it does something good for you, yeah, we wanted to create something clean, because I don't think, even though you might have brands out there, I'm not going to mention them here, but they claim that they're the cleanest version in the energy game, but unfortunately, if you dig just a little bit into it, they're not.
Okay. All right. So 2 products from your incubator launching this side of Christmas.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
cool.
But when it comes to the Dr. Smood, the owned products and the retail business, for the next 6 months, we are continuing to work on the new model for the brick and mortar business. We have kicked off the first pilot in Wynwood, in Miami, and it's already being really well received. We're just kind of building the whole team now to really support it, and then start implementing it in the rest of the portfolio of locations. So that's what we're going to be spending our time there. We have some amazing chefs in the pipeline that we're going to be working with, and it's going to be very seasonal. It's going to be from all over the place. We have just onboarded a chef from Peru who's going to be bringing a little bit of Peruvian style in. We still going to be working, of course, with our 2 Michelin star chef in Italy. So we're going to have some Italian season as well. We are looking into working with some people out of France, so have French cuisine. Again, Dr. Smood is a world cuisine, so we want to keep on moving around and introduce something new and fresh, right? To keep it interesting. And then when it comes to our CBG business, we are, over the next couple of months, adding a lot of new performance SKUs. So we will have new bars, so new flavors, new varieties, new purposes, and also new supplements. So a lot. Dr. Smood, at the end of the day, we're pumping out new product because, again, we want to keep on testing, and we want to see what sticks. And sometimes, of course, keep on adding product can also be a challenge, big challenge. But we're going to keep on doing it to test and see which one that sticks the most. And right now we already have the solid indicators that for the Dr. Smood CBG, the performance line is doing amazingly. So we want to keep on adding more and more to have better variety.
So that's a lot of things. There's a lot of exciting things coming up. I would be a lot of our audience are entrepreneurs themselves, looking for, 1, inspiration, but 2, really actionable tips and tricks. So I would be remiss if I didn't also ask the flip side of that, which is, what are some of the challenges that you see coming up this half of, or the next half of the year and beyond? What are some things that you're like, okay, this is something that we need to work through, or is going to challenge us?
Again, the biggest challenge is resources, having the right people to help us really set ourselves up for success. We have a million balls in the air, so it is almost inevitable that you drop some of these balls. But the better the team, the more you can accomplish, right? So basically, right now we're working with a lot of headhunters to make sure that we're getting the right team together to support and do the lift. But that's definitely a challenge. We know a lot of brands out there that is also working within the health food sector. They tend to only work with one product, and then they do that amazingly and for 10 years, and then maybe they want to add something extra. So we're definitely making it very hard for ourselves by having such a big variety of products. But that was, that was the decision we made already back in 2013. We wanted to be like that boutique market where you can get like all these different things. We're never going to be a grocery store where you have thousands of products, but at least the things that we have is done right and is damn delicious. And like when I said that the core customer of Dr. Smood is between, as a female 35 to 50, like, for the pastas, they might be closer to 50, but for the performance, they might be a little younger as well and maybe have different interests. So like, it's still, it's sometimes a little hard for us also talking about challenges, like to put out content and education that then aspires to all these different people, right? So because sometimes it's easier, yeah, if you just have one thing to one core customer, so you know exactly how to communicate and how to make everything look and feel.
So I just want to rebound a little bit on team. So you've mentioned team a couple times and the importance of having a team around you. Can you talk a little bit more about that? And also, was that just innate? Did you know that from the start of this entrepreneurial journey, or is that something that you unfortunately had to figure out, maybe a difficult way, or is that something that's just always been in the Dr. Smood ethos?
No, yeah, I would say that culture has always been big, and having the right team members has been key from day one. Unfortunately, it's not always been the truth that we've had a lot of turnover. We've tested a lot of different things, a lot of different profiles, different backgrounds, and in the beginning when we were pushing the QSR, we wanted to have people involved that obviously had been in the QSR game, but then they then have the right attention to detail when it came to product, right? And the whole that chic, timeless environment that we were creating, because usually QSR is like something that is not compromised, but like it is like something like almost like a shell that is super easy to scale. And we kept on like pulling back a little bit, saying like, remember that we're a premium brand. It needs to look and feel in a certain way. So we've always strived to find the right people, but like had a very hard time sometimes finding them. And because like maybe we also asking a lot, but sometimes it's very hard to find some people out there that has everything in one, right? That can cover all these needs that we have. So, but then we have to get our own hands dirty, right? and take charge and be a part of everything, which can be again very very challenging. But I feel like now we have a lot of experience. We are growing a team, and we're growing with the right team members. So we're definitely getting to the best point we've been in forever. So it's really coming together.
Cool, very cool. Congratulations in that regards. Can't wait to see what the next couple months bring and those two launches plus everything else that's launching.
Yeah, me too. It's very exciting. Like for the first time, Dr. Smood is doing something, of course, still related to Dr. Smood, but a brand new brand with someone else. We're getting celebrity endorsements, celebrity partners, and of course, like by having celebrities involved, it's not always resulting in immediate success. There's so many things involved in just having a business, right? So again, important that you have the right team. It's all about team.
Yeah. Okay. So now we've come to the rapid fire portion. I'll ask you four different questions. So first one, what do you consider to be your biggest success to date?
I have to say, like, yeah, COVID for us was a blessing in disguise, because that actually made us stop and look at what we have, and then finally being courageous enough to then go towards the platform that we always wanted to become. And I think that is actually a big success moment for us, like, to look a little bit away from the first notion of scalability, which is only focused around the brick and mortar, to then, okay, let's actually be courageous and move not away from it, but like, add the other things that can really put us on the map. So I think that was a big successful moment. But I would say that those new products that we created there is not just because I've been a big part of it creating them, but I find them through like all the testimonials we're constantly getting from customers, a big success as well. Like, that you created something that people now have added to their daily routines is amazing, right? And people like are saying, wow, you helped me get through these things by offering me that. Like, that's amazing that you actually had a positive impact in people's lives. That's basically why we're here. So like, that's a huge one.
That's a huge motivator. That must be an enormous feel-good factor.
Exactly.
So the flip side of that, what would you consider your biggest failure to date?
Biggest failure, that's probably that we wanted to expand too fast. We were too aggressive. So if we had taken the time to really get solid proof of business in the beginning, especially when it came to our retail business, we could have probably had we could probably have been in a much better place like a lot sooner. Because again, like, sometimes if you're a little bit too excited and you want to just go ahead and expand before you actually have that proof, it can end up being, catastrophic. Thank God it wasn't for us, but like, we did get close sometimes to, for example, we had to close down a few stores on the back of COVID because they didn't work. We also had some hard times with landlords, but like, they were not really being so forgiving sometimes, given the time and the phase the whole world was in. But yeah, I do think the biggest failure for us was being too aggressive, and that had some repercussions.
Okay.
But I
So then
think,
this,
thank God, it
yeah,
was
go
not a
ahead.
catastrophe. It was
Yeah,
not a
you're still here.
catastrophe.
It wasn't fatal.
No.
So that might lead into this next question, which is, what is the most important lesson you've learned to date?
I believe that is definitely one of the biggest lessons. Like, be sure and do the proper due diligence. Now everything that we do is also data driven. So we're doing a lot of analysis, competitor analysis, market analysis. We're getting a lot of data on customer behavior. What is being purchased now today? Does it make sense for us to add this SKU to the mix? Like, everything now is being highly data driven. So like, that can help us determine big decisions, whether it's just business decisions or expansion decisions, product decisions. I think so you set yourself up for success, right? That you have something, you have actual proof of this works because X, Y, and Z reasons. That is definitely the biggest lesson.
Okay. So if we think about the Dr. Smood mission and vision, if you could get 85% of the world to adopt a single behavior, what would that be?
Easy. If I could get 85% of the world to adopt a single behavior, that will definitely be eat the right foods and support proper farming practices, because this will have a major impact on both human and planetary health.
Good answer. Okay. And then the last one is, we know where we can find you in Miami and in New York City. What about online? Where can we find you?
Yeah, for the online, drsmood.com.
Wonderful. Okay, well, Oliver, thank you so much for chatting with us today. It's been a real pleasure to learn about Dr. Smood, the new products coming out, and how you guys have just kind of taken the world by storm. It's a fantastic story. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. I
Of
enjoyed it.
course. Good. And everybody else, I will see you on B1.